Hiya Hugh, good session yesterday. Hope you found it helpful. Just a couple of points I had to talk about in terms of your backswing position. First of all, congratulations on getting your handicap down to 7. It's been great to see your progression now from we started a few years ago when you were sort of 16, 17, coming down now through the handicap ranks, and certainly category 1 now, 4, 5 and 3 is going to be, I'm sure, your next target to aim for. So in terms of your swing now, as you said, the reason why you get a bit of inconsistency, some random shots sort of coming in there with your swing, because of the movement of your backswing now on the way back, club going quite a bit on the inside, left arm also seems pulling away from the chest there, just your body not really sort of moving back in sync quite as well. This is going to lead you to sort of require a lot of timing to get the club back to the ball correctly. So when you were timing it well and your swing speed was the sort of perfect speed, you'd hit the golf ball, as you said a few weeks ago, when it was perfect, lovely strike, you knew exactly what the club was going to do and the ball was going all where you wanted it to go. Once that speed changed just a smidgen, for whatever reason, could have been just tiredness, heat, stiff, whatever, different times of the day, all these things can change different sort of swing speeds. As you then came back to the golf ball, your club was in a kind of a different position to what you're used to, and the different strikes you were getting, fats and thins and different sort of directional problems. So for me, really, at your level now, trying to get a bit more consistency is just to get the golf club and the body and the arms to work back in sync on one angle and kind of return back on a similar kind of plane, maybe slightly underneath that as we come back down. If we look here on the left-hand side, your club now goes back for me a bit on the inside there, as we can see. If we zoom in a bit there now, there's a bit of daylight between your left arm and your chest there, hands sort of moving out slightly, and the club's kind of whipped a bit more on the inside here. Now you've got to try and redirect the golf club, so you put a line down where you are there. As you get to the top of the backswing, you start moving up, you start hinging the wrist into a fairly decent position. As you get there, now your left arm gets a little bit higher than maybe we need to get, and because of that sort of lifting from sort of this flatter position here on the inside, the club now, rather than kind of going back kind of here and back down this way, is kind of going up and over. So as a result of you sort of coming back down now a little bit steeper, you're coming back down, you see a different angle to what you went back at. When you come back to that golf ball, that club's a little bit steeper than you anticipated. In this case, club comes back in a good line, just a little bit too steep, and there's a little big chunk there with the divot, and losing a good amount of yardage there as a result. Now, if we're getting those type of shots, or we're striking the ground a bit heavy, or your angle of attack's a bit steeper than you're anticipating, you're going to have to try and sort of almost miss the ground in some cases, which will then lead to those sort of thinny, toppy shots. And the way you might do that is sort of leaning back or hanging back on it and hitting those shots you were sort of trying to demonstrate, especially with the driver, sort of the big bails out to the right there, where you feel you're sort of hanging back and the arms are just sort of pulling through. And what you will find at your level, being a good golfer, you'll kind of adapt to certain faults you're finding by almost trying to fix them with another fault. And obviously that's just going to mask them for so long, but they keep going back around to the original fault in the first place. So as a practice drill now, we can work on taking this golf club back now sort of towards the camera. This is a little bit short. That would be kind of an ideal position around about here. If we look in now, your left arm and the chest a little bit more connected in there. As you felt on the explainer you did for your left arm was a little bit more connected. So the club was kind of working a bit more up here and back down, as opposed to kind of working in, up, and then back into a different position. If we can get the club working based on one sort of simple plane, it's far easier to be more consistent. And then when if the speed does change, if your club goes up here and back down here, the speed's irrelevant. If you go back in here and have to come over the top slightly to come back down on plane, the speed change around about this area here now is going to determine whether the club goes too far this way, get very steep, or not enough if you slow down and you come back too shallow. Those sort of two movements there could lead to the thins or the tops or whatever, or the fats and the chunks you may have been getting. So as that club was going back, practice from that position there, you sort of stop and then go to the top of the backswing. Left arm now nicely across your chest as you come back down to the golf ball, club back into a very, very good position, and you see the strike of the ground now, much more kind of crisper, cleaner strike of the ground there. The body starts working through, and your club now kind of working up on a better plane, as we can see, kind of up there, working back down that plane and just underneath it slightly as we go back, and then back through up on that plane on the other side. So just having a more efficient swing, really, a lot less things to worry about, a lot less things going on there, and hopefully in terms of consistency, will obviously help your consistency, because your bad shots now will basically get better. Even with your roll swing here on the left-hand side, you hit some fantastic shots, and you always will do. You could swing the golf club pretty horrifically, and because it's your ability and talent, you'll hit some lovely shots. The problem is, as good as the good shots are where you might make a birdie, a bad shot comes in, you make a triple. So you can't recover 3 shots lost with a bad swing by making 3 birdies in a row or an eagle or something crazy like that and so on. So the bad shots will always be more destructive than the good shots actually save. So if we can get that consistency up, reduce the destructiveness, shall we say, of the bad shots, get a bit more consistency with the swing, I'm sure you'll find your scores will sort of creeping down, and you're sort of shooting those low numbers, getting that handicap down to that category 1 as we suggested. So Hope that all makes sense. Feel free to send any videos through when you go on the driving range, both you and your dad. If you want to send some videos through of your swing, just sort of keep on top of things so we can sort of see how you're progressing. Feel free to do that. Just get your dad or yourself to film it down the line and face on. Ping them through as an email or a WhatsApp. I'll be more than happy to look at them and sort of comment back saying yes, good, or maybe some work needs to be done there just as we're progressing through before we sort of catch up again for the next lesson sometime in the future. So get some work done and I'll catch up with you soon. All right, cheers, you.